Hi, it's Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm. Today I have a new project that was really fun to engineer and come up with and then make. So to begin with, let me tell you that I've used 4 different looms. You have your standard round set. I've used everything but the littlest one. So I've used the big one, the hat, the adult hat one, and the child hat size. Used all 3 of those looms. I've used the scarf loom. Now this might seem complicated, but it's not. You just have to break it up into parts, and that's how my mind works. When I see things, I break things into parts. So we're going to be loom knitting a Noah's Ark. It's a little Noah's Ark playset, and it's sort of modeled after the concept of, if you've checked out my video on the cupcake doll cradle purse, it's sort of modeled on that same concept. When I was a little girl in church, to a certain age, about 7 or 8, we were allowed to bring small toys in a purse or something, but then after that all we were allowed to do was straw. So when my children were young, I always kept in my purse little finger puppets, Barney, a giraffe. I had various other ones that I would pull out at church so they could play with them, or anywhere else I needed them to be quiet. So I was on eBay one day, and I can't remember exactly what I was looking for, but somehow I stumbled upon these little sets. I think they were $1.50 a piece, I can't remember exactly, of finger puppets. And there's sets, there were people sets and animal sets, and they all came from China, so that's why they were so cheap. And the people sets, I think they each had 12, maybe? Let's see what my bag says. Yes, each set came with 12 animals, and they're random animals. So I ordered 3 or 4 sets to make sure that I would get enough. First of all, for Noah's Ark, I need double, and I also wanted to make sure I got enough furry animals. Now you don't want too many in this because you don't want it to become a big mess. So I decided on 3 pairs of animals, and I got 2 monkeys. They were real cute, and they're really soft, whatever this plush is made out of. I got 2 tigers, and I think these are giraffes, but they have like hippo teeth, and they sort of look like antlers instead of, you know, like deer antlers instead of like little giraffe antlers. I don't know. If you've ever ordered any kind of things from China, sometimes you get some really weird stuff. But anyway, so I'm going to say, and they also have whiskers. I'm going to say the giraffes. And then in my people set, I had various people, but I picked out the 2 people I thought looked most like Mr. and Mrs. Noah. So there we go. So those are that's how it sort of started this whole idea. Well, I was digging around in my buttons, and I had these cute Noah's Ark buttons. So I was like, well, how can I use those? They're ceramic, so I didn't, you know, I don't know. They just got me thinking. So I put all this stuff together. So let me tell you, first of all, you're going to need a 2-liter Coke bottle. Now my kids got really excited because I went and bought a Sprite, and they rarely get in the house. When we go out to eat, they're allowed to get a Sprite or a root beer, something with no caffeine in it. So when they saw a Sprite, they were pretty excited. I needed the bottle, so that's why they got the Sprite. So this is going to be the inside base of Noah's Ark. So what you're going to need to do is cut off, take the cap off, throw it away. I'm probably going to take this part off too here. Otherwise, any kind of choking issue. You never know when a kid gets something apart. Get rid of that too. And then you're going to cut a hole. And if you see, this is the side, and I've cut down sort of like an indention. Let's see what I've done here. I've cut off the round part, and I've cut down a little bit to make an indention all the way across the one top of it. So this is going to be the base of the boat, and I've stripped off the label, so it's just the plain thing. Alright, so I've already gone and stitched all my components, but I haven't put it together, so we're going to do that in the video, but really didn't think you needed to see me knitting all these parts. So really what we've got is we've got 3 parts of the boat, 3 knitted parts of the boat, and then we have we have a big play mat that's going to be like the water. And well, if you want to count, I also made, this is an optional thing, but I made a little strap dill that's going to go around it, so that's part of it. Now, I wanted it really thick, so I used, now I don't know how old some of this is. Like I said, I buy my yarn all over the place, garage sales and big boxes of it and stuff, so This could be defunct yarn. I don't know. You might have to find something similar. This is Lion brand, and it was a 5 bulky, the chunky yarn, and it was sort of the oh, it has a name, that Boulancy or something like that. I don't know what it is, but it's you can see it's like fibers twisted with fibers. I used 2 of those, and then I used just a regular 4 yarn. It was this like green stuff I had if you watch my acorn video, I used the same stuff in the acorn video. And why I used that, and I also had that was for the base of the boat, and so I used the biggest yellow loom to make the base of the boat. So I knitted an approximately 8-inch wide or long, however you want to say it, length with a cuff, sort of like a great big hat, only I haven't gathered it yet. And this is the one that I used all the different colors in, and I was trying to go for wood, like the wood on a Noah's Ark. So this is the biggest piece here. Now, so that was 8 inches. So you're going to do 1 8-inch long cuff, basically hat, on your big yellow loom. You're also going to need approximately 7 or 8-inch long piece on that next loom, the green loom, the adult hat size, and you're not going to make a cuff on that one. You're going to need, on the smallest one, 8-inch diameter with the little maroon or brick red one. You're going to, it's just like going to make a hat. And I was trying to simulate straw or something animal bedding. So I've used, it was like a burnt orange and like a straw colored. And you're going to make just a regular hat with a cuff. And this one needs to be about 7 or 8 inches long as well. And you're just going to go ahead and finish this one out like a hat. This is going to be turned inside out, and this is going to be the inside of our Noah's Ark. So none of that plastic is going to be showing. So those are the 3 hat-like pieces in different brown tones that you need to knit. You're going to need just a little bit of fiberfill. Now the other piece you're going to knit, and I did it on the scarf loom because it always gives that nice sort of double knitted, really squishy. And I used this Serenity Baby, it's Deborah Norville. Again, like I said, might not even be in existence anymore. And this was called Tide Pool. And it was sort of a Chanel filling yarn. It wasn't Chanel, but it sort of feels that way. And I used the scarf loom all the way across, the widest length. And I knitted approximately 15 or 16 inches length. And this is going to be our Playmat. I also did a little strap that was just about the same length. And my idea was I'm going to use one of these, the Noah's Ark button. And I'm going to put it on here. And this can roll up. It may or may not fit in the boat. You might just have to keep it with the boat. And I thought the strap, you might be able to do a smaller strap in the button, and that would be the little play mat for the water for the Noah's Ark to go on. This is an optional thing, you know. Let's put it together. Right. So I've got my cut bottle. And so this one will be the one that's going to go inside the bottle, but we're not going to do that quite yet. Let's do the outside first. So this is our outside piece, the big one, from the big one. And we're going to take our bottle. You want to get it in there. You want to make sure you got room. We're going to draw that up here in just a second. I'm going to take some of this fiber film where the pointy part is. I'm just going to sort of stuff it down in there. Just going to sort of make the front part of the boat here. I'm going to poke a little through the spout of the bottle. And put a little on the outside of the spout of the bottle. see it sort of gives it that nice boat-like thing there. More down in there. Okay. And so my bottle's down in there. You see how it's resting down in there. All right, so here's my part. I'm going to turn it up over here. I'm going to draw this up. Make sure you have a good, so you want to have a good lip here. You don't want to pull this down yet. Don't pull this down there. Now I'm just going to sew this close. Okay, now we have the base of the boat. And we have our inside of the boat. And we have our top. Make sure you leave ample strings on this one because it's going to be like a drawstring. It's going to be like a whole drawstring, little, like a purse, but it's going to be Noah's Ark. So leave your drawstrings up there. And you didn't do a cuff on this one. And this I just did another kind of brown, sort of like the top of the boat, I guess. And the reason why we didn't do a cuff is because this is going to go in between the outside boat cuff and the inside animal straw cuff. Now you might want some pins. So you want to put it down. Unroll it as best as you can here. And put it in there and just pin it for right now. Don't worry about the inside boat part yet. Just you want to pin the edges of this smaller one. This is the green adult hat size one. And you want to pin it to the top cuff of the big boat piece. Maybe I'm going to do it from the outside here. Try to unroll it as much as possible there while you're lining it all up. So you can see I've got the outside boat and the top of the boat pinned together. You're sort of getting the idea of what it will look like. It's going to be a drawstring up here. And that will be the boat. Okay, so now on the inside, get this as wide as possible here. And you get your, now obviously I'm not going to be able to show this to you as I'm doing it. You want to kick your little, the hat, I'm going to put it down in there. And then you want to line up the top cuff. Sort of just use your hands to feel with there. And I'm going to also pin this. I'm going to be taking out the pin that I have in there. I'm going to pin all the way through. I'm going to get some poke fingers here. All 3 layers. And first of all, I'm going to do that on each side. So I can make sure that, because I'm going to have to stretch that little hat. So I'm going to do it on each end and the 4 sides to begin with, and then I'll go around and do the rest of the pins here. Alright, now I'm going to be using, it's it's like a cotton yarn, but it's a real thin. It's probably like a sock yarn, but it's, I mean, it's not. It's just cotton. I buy this recycled yarn from a lady on eBay. It's Bubble something is her seller name, but her store is Rewinds, and she takes apart sweaters, high quality cotton sweaters, and she does other fibers as well, but I like her cotton. And then she rewinds it into recycled yarn, and I love buying her stuff. And I liked this thin yarn because it in any kind of art you don't want a solid color. Like if you're doing solid green, it doesn't look realistic if you want to use shadows and tones and textures and all that. So I like these thin yarns to weave in with my other yarns to give my colors depth, realistic tones. So I really like these cottons. Now, what I'm going to do, using my cuff, I'm going to have to look inside. The first thing I'm going to have to do is go through here, and because this isn't fabric, it's wholly knitted fabric, I'm going to have knitted. I used the same word there. You're going to have to you're going to have to tie it, or else it'll come right out, because you can't just do a knot like you're sewing. And then just trim that off. Okay. That'll just hold it. Okay, now I'm just going to go in and out, sewing my inside cuff to the outside cuff with the adult hat size cuffless section in between. That's why that one didn't have a cuff, because it's going to be sandwiched between the two cuffs. The yarn is very forgiving. It will hide your stitches, but so your job is to make sure that you're getting it sewn. You might have to go back and forth over a section if it's really, you know, wide holes or something. You want to make sure it's sewn on there very well. Now always remember that most kids, especially at this age group that are young enough to play with a Noah's Ark, are not going to be very gentle with this toy. So you want to make sure it's strong. Don't want Noah's Ark sinking in the middle of church service. As you go past the pin, you can remove that pin. Okay. Just around. Okay, so what you have now, you can see inside. Let me see. Hopefully I'll be able to lighten the video enough that you'll be able to see. So you've got the inside hat is all sewn. If you put your hand in there, it's like another sock in there. It's all sewn in there. So all you see is the other little hat in there. It's all soft inside. And you have this top part of the boat, and this is the boat down here. And like I said, I don't think my Playmat, probably if you use a thinner yarn, the Playmat would probably fit in there better. But this obviously isn't going to fit in there because it's poofy. And I've got my little guys, my monkeys and everyone. Put them down in there. See, they all fit down in there in the boat. And what I like to do whenever I do a drawstring project for a child, obviously you're not going to give this to a little tiny kid. I'm talking about, it's probably good for 4 to 6, maybe to 8, depending on your kid. because you don't want to give drawstrings to a little tiny kid. But you also don't want to do, so to begin with the drawstring, I'm going to stretch it as far as it'll go. And then I'm just going to find a knot over here. A knot. A couple of times over because I want it to be a bigger knot. I don't want it to go through the idea is so it doesn't, it opens up as big as it can, but it can't go through the holes of the drawstring there. Let's do a kind of a big knot. Always anticipate, when you have kids and you're making kid projects, always anticipate any way they can sort of mess it up. Alright, so I made a big knot is what I did. So that means that it can be stretched as much as it can go to play with, but it can't get pulled out. And then when the kid wants to draw the drawstring up, so I still have this, and what I'm going to do, around one more time. So, and here's a little drawstring, and if you wanted to, you could do knitted handles or something too. But so my thought was, if you poked it down in there and sort of made it square, obviously you just have to show the kid this. It just looks sort of like a boat. Or you could also leave it like this, and you can carry it by the drawstring. And the kid has the little Noah's Ark there. I did a strap, just with a regular needle and thread here. Now if you also wanted to, I thought about doing this, but while I was making the water mat, so to speak, I realized that it probably wasn't going to fit in the Noah's Ark. So at that point I abandoned all the other ideas. But you could also knit a length maybe out of rainbow yarn, make a rainbow to go with it. Strap, and I got my little water mat that the boat sits on. This could also double as, it's so squishy, you can double as a pillow for the kid. I'm just going to roll it up, slip it in my little thing, and there we go. We got the boat, and we've got the water mat. So don't let the different pieces feel complicated to you. Just think of it as parts, and sewing the parts together, and there you have a little Noah's Ark for a kid to take to church or some other event where they need to be quiet. If you got confused by anything, or if I rambled or whatever and you need clarification on a point, don't hesitate to ask down in the comments and I'll answer it as best I can. So this has been Angie from Canterbury Trails Farm with a loom knitted Noah's Ark. Thanks for joining us. Bye!